Hello and welcome to episode 178 of Masters of the Forge. I am Adam, and with me is Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Adam. Hi, everyone.
So it is. We are deep in the holiday season. Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, lovely. We just had Thanksgiving. We both had a lovely Thanksgiving break. I mean, I'm speaking for you. I'm just assuming you had a lovely Thanksgiving break.
Oh, it was great. I drove 40 hours in 4 days. It was rad.
Cool. uh I reiterate cool. Yeah, I'm sure that was fine. Yeah, and I had a lovely time. We didn't host this year, so it was
Even better.
I had 2 glasses of wine and I was great. I was more
Yeah.
than great. It was delightful. So anyways, let's talk about our hobby progress, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Sorry, I am so exhausted. This whole house is sick.
Yeah, I noticed that on Facebook. I was like, oh, boy.
Yeah, Quinn is just head to toe in freaking slime. Like, his nose, he's like, it's just gross. Let's just put it that way. The boy is a disgusting creature.
Well, he is the chosen of Nurgle, you know.
It is true. I need to get him that shirt out so he can wear it. Oh, he really should be wearing that shirt while he's sick.
Yeah.
So, last time I talked about how I was working on the Adeptus Titanicus terrain for that
Yeah.
game that I was going to do with Pat. So we didn't end up doing the game. Pat called me and he's like, yeah, so I was just going to slap some of these together last night. And he's like, then I saw that the Warhound Titan, the smallest of the Titans, has like 14 pieces in the foot.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I wasn't just going to slap these together. I'm like, I get it, dude. That's fine. But I finished that terrain up, and it looks pretty nice. I didn't color the windows. That sounds just crazy. If my main game were Titanicus, I would paint some nice, like, stained glass in the windows or something like that. But, or better yet, drill out the windows and put little tea lights in there.
Oh.
Actually, that'd be really easy. I should just do that. That's actually, I just had that idea and it sounds like it could really work really well.
Do it.
Yeah, people do it in Star Trek, like modeling. Star Trek starships, well, some of them come like Polar Lights kits. They come pre-drilled, but they'll drill out the model's windows and they'll run fiber optics through the spaceship and it'll be all lit up and pretty. But a tea light would be fine for this type of situation.
Yeah.
Not a fire one, an electric one. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, man, that sounds like it could be a good plan.
Oh man, this is a new project I didn't even know I needed.
Well, that's what we do here at Masters of the Forge. We give people projects they didn't realize they needed, or we inspire them.
Yeah. Well, I started painting faces on the 30 Beast Snagaboys I have left because
Speaking of which,
yeah, but like I only got 15 faces painted, and after that I was just like, I haven't done a thing on them.
Yeah, I can understand that.
We've been busy with the holidays and the wedding, so. But I have a lot of purchases.
I see that.
I bought John's old Empire Bretonia army.
I didn't know he had one.
Right? Well, I did, but it's just been sitting there. He got it way back when it was just for fantasy.
Wow. Okay, that was before I met him.
Really long time. Yeah, really long time. I want to do a Shaiish Cities of Sigmar army, like I was talking about. So it was like $300, and I got 20 knights, 30 handgunners, 40 state troops, 10 flagellants, 10 great swords, 3 demigryph knights, 5 pistoliers, Celestial Hurricanum, Volkmar the Grim, which I think that's the big guy. One of these characters is like a guy riding a stagecoach. I can just do that. I can just make another Celestial Hurricane out of that guy if I want. Empire Captain, Empire Griffin Standard Bearer. He's pretty cool. Two sets of Empire Artillery, an Empire Steam Tank, two Empire Volley Guns, Valton Exalted of Sigmar. Maybe that's the guy who's... Anyway, one of them is like an infantry guy who's, I think, metal. And another one is a guy driving a wizard with a stagecoach.
How large of an army is this?
Empire Battle Wizards, and then a General of the Empire. This is... I did it up in the Age of Sigmar app.
Yeah.
And it is... Oh, see, all I did here was make an actual list, I think. Nope, here it is. It's 3,275 points of Age of Sigmar.
Okay, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. It's I've got enough. Oh, and I also had purchased 10 handgunner. Sorry, it was 10 hand. Was it? Yeah, I forget. I definitely picked up 10 great swords, and either 10 more handgunners or 10 more troops. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And when I found out how much John had here, I was like, all right, I'm going to cancel this order. It had been weeks since I ordered it too, and they still hadn't shipped it. And I'm like, well, I'll just cancel this. I sent customer service an email saying, I'm going to cancel this. And then 2 days later, I got an email saying your order has shipped.
Oh my god.
Then 2 days after that, I got an email saying, ooh, sorry, we just got this email. We can credit you. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I don't care. I'll
Was
just
this
have
from
10
G-Dubs?
more. Yeah. Yeah, because they're online direct only for those.
I don't know if I told you, but I had this is going off that. It's from Forge World. I had those Contemptor arms that were on order for 5 weeks. And until they finally showed up, and I'd even emailed them like, oh, well, we could cancel if you want. I'm like, no, don't cancel them. I'm just trying to get an ETA. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. It's getting pretty hairy out there.
Yeah.
Also, my Secret Santa, my IC Secret Santa really came through for me.
Nice.
So I was super mean, and I made them decide what my next army was going to be.
Yeah.
So it was either a mechanized Space Marine army, the Aurora chapter,
right?
The Cities of Sigmar army, which I'm glad they didn't get me anything because I apparently have a 3,250 point army. A Skaven army, which would have been hilarious. Because I also told my Secret Santa, if you have just like trash laying around, don't bother buying new kits. Just shove trash in my face. So if you've got like Island of Blood, just throw it at me. I don't care. But what they did was also Sneaky Tau army when they sent me a Sneaky Tau starter. So
nice.
They sent me a Ghost Keel battle suit, some Pathfinders, and a squad of stealth suits. And so the last time I was at the store, obviously I bought Commander Shadowsun because duh.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's what you do. As I was shopping for my Secret Santa, I'm not sure if my Secret Santa is a listener, so I'm not gonna go into detail about what I did or got for them. I'll wait till they either open it or after Christmas before I talk about my hobby progress with their gift.
Yeah, you've been quiet on that front.
Yeah, well, I just tried printing something. So I just replaced my film, the plastic film that goes in the resin reservoir.
Yeah.
And I had 2 big prints after I did that, and they came out fine. But I just tried to print something else, and I got nothing. Not just like usually when a print fails, it's because it's stuck to the film,
right?
Instead of the lifting plate. So normally it sticks to the lifting plate. The lifting plate lifts up and it prints another layer, lifts up, prints another layer. Usually when a print fails, it sticks to the plastic. So the plate keeps lifting, but it keeps like shooting its beams at the same piece of resin that's stuck to the plastic.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing in there, which means I think it's possible that the screen inside my printer is broken. The way it works is there's like an LED screen,
Yeah.
like a pretty much a cell phone screen
Right.
that each layer displays on the cell phone screen, and the cell phone screen cures the resin above it. And I think maybe that screen is not getting power anymore. I think it's possible that my printer is destroyed. I'm going
Ouch.
to, yeah, I'm gonna try to turn it off and recalibrate it one more time. But I have a feeling we have reached end of life with my 3D printer. And if I am, I'm actually not sure I'm gonna get another one. As nice
Yeah.
it is as it is to be able to print whatever I want, man, this resin bothers me. It's so toxic. It just bugs me every time I deal with it. Like I feel like I get paranoid pretty
Yeah.
easily. So I think it's kind of that. It My mental state does more damage maybe than the resin does, but that's enough for me. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's been one reason I haven't really been wanting to go the 3D printer route. I mean, that and I don't have any room in my current
Yeah,
place.
yeah, and you
So
need real ventilation and stuff for that.
yeah, and I've got ventilation for my airbrush.
Mm-hmm. And that
Um,
hood should work
yeah,
in some way, shape, or form, but I think
yeah,
you have to kind of reset it up for each one every time you use it. So, and you definitely use your airbrush.
yeah.
But anyways, I'm not trying to be too negative about it. I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure right now for me if it's worth it.
Uh huh.
I like it. I like having it, and I like being able to use it and print things. But I'm not sure I'm gonna invest another one if this one's busted.
Yeah,
But that's really about it for hobby progress. I really need to sit down and start. I need some hobby time. I'm getting a little stressed out. I'm getting a little squirrely, as my dad used to say. When my
yeah.
dad used to like want to take a drink,
Uh huh.
that's what he'd call it. He'd say, "I'm getting a little squirrely. I need a meeting." And I'm feeling the same way. I need to sit down at the desk and paint something because starting to get a little
Twitchy.
great, little twitchy. Yeah, I need
Yeah, I
that.
understand
I
that.
need the. I mean, painting for a lot of us is like the only way we uh, what do you call it uh like you get zen. The only way you
Yeah,
get your meditation. It's the only way you
yeah.
get into a meditative state, and it's very healthy to do that. So, anyways, Jason, what's your hobby progress look like?
Well, I'm hoping I can get some more this week. I
Yeah.
this week's going to be interesting. All right, so let me see what
Mhm.
I do. Okay, I mentioned this before, but I finally received the Contemptor arms for the Siren Dread and some other dreads that I have that are they just need arms. So I magnetized an autocannon for the Siren Dread, and I'm hoping to paint that in the coming weeks. I did go through and prime it. So I'll get those done hopefully this weekend or this week. I can never remember. Oh, Bastion's called Bastion. Okay, so my Sorcerer's Tower slash bunker slash Bastion. I couldn't remember the GW name until literally right now.
We've been
Um,
talking about that thing since the last time we played Warhammer, which was a really long time ago.
yeah. Well, I finally, I bought it, I built it, I base coated it, and then I just left it. Because I just kind of looked at it and went, oh, that's a lot of. It's not that it's a lot of detail. It's like there's large areas that need the same paint to break up
Yeah.
the monotone. And so I finally started, painting on that. And I'm trying to, work on those details and really kind of push what I can do as a painter. And so, I have this kind of metal detailing that I've painted. I think the top color is like polished gold from Vallejo or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Or no, yeah, it's polished gold. But yeah, most of the metal's in gold. There's a lot of metal details, a lot of gold. I'm trying to do like a Tiscan Prospero scheme, so it's this kind of shiny white thing with you know, blue and green purity seals that are kind of, you know, visually odd, and I'm going through and adding some other blues and stuff like that to kind of give it a Thousand Suns type of look, like a 40k version of it.
Loving the idea of the impurity seals.
Yeah, they're they're fun. I mean, it's, you know, I'm having to kind of work on stuff, and every detail is like a, well, will this work? Will that work? Where's that stupid you know, color wheel to see if that actually clashes too much or not. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that done rather soon. It's coming along. I mean, I don't really have a place to set up a board in my current place, but you know, at some point, hopefully this next year I'll be in a different place, which will be nice because then Adam doesn't have to hear the children next door screaming or trying to hurt each other, or the dogs are out there doing I have no idea what this time.
You're not stuck in the moral quandary of whether you should call the police or not.
Well, yeah, honestly, there's been a couple of times like, all right,
Well,
so
what's worse? These poor children being beaten up, or these children losing their family. Man, that's a tough call. Best to just pretend you didn't hear anything, right?
It's the kids beating on each other. It's not.
Oh well, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, that you didn't hear anything.
Yeah, that's the kids being, well, kids. Let's see. I did build some Zangors. These are Zangors from the Hexfire box because I absolutely refused to build them unless I had no other, you know, thing to build. And I went to Oklahoma to see my grandmother, so I took them with me and built them. Hey, I finally read through the rules of the Thousand Suns Codex. How long is that thing?
Hey, all right. Maybe we should cover that codex.
Yeah, it'd probably be a good idea. There's actually some really good stuff in the Crusade area too. Like, I'm reading it going, this is really cool. We should talk about this. Oh well. Let me see. So I think I finally understand the new psychic phase, or at least how they kind of approach that and how to build armies to work with that a little bit more. Which means, you know, more characters, but I mean, look at the stuff I paint. I paint sorcerers and characters all the time. Let's see. Oh, I picked up Mike Brooks' newest book, Dagabo's Revenge, which is it's not a children's book. Man, it almost looks like a children's book. And I also picked up the Red Gabo and Bouncer, the little Christmas ornament mini type thing. I also bought
He's a cutie. Oh,
yeah.
If you got the plushie, don't eat the jingle balls hanging off his head.
Yeah, okay, is that what's going on? Okay, I wish I'd gotten that plushie. That'd be rad. I mean...
Yeah, he's been recalled.
I saw that. I also picked up there's that Eldar Webway thing that's... I picked that up I kind of wandered around, like every time I go out of town, I always wander through to some various stores that I know and, you know, say hi to people and pick up stuff. And I picked up that because I hadn't seen it for sale in a while, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of cool, and it would work well on a Thousand Suns board. So, and a little blood letters box so I can practice painting red because, yeah, there's some things I just need to work on, and painting red seems to be one of them. That's, you know, that's not Thousand Suns red or Blood Raven red. So. But yeah, that's my hobby progress. Hopefully this next week or two I'll start getting more time where I'm not super busy, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so games played, Adam. I see you have a lot of games.
Yeah, lots of games. So I went to Du Bois GT, as you
Yay!
do. First one since pandemic, so that's
Yeah.
very exciting. This year, AOS and 40K had the same number of players, so 60 something each, which was, I
Really?
believe, yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Some of the AOS players were kind of jerks, but it is what it is. People, I
Well,
don't know. I don't understand people. But
the jerks bounce
yeah,
between the various game systems. Like
I
sometimes in
guess. But
40k, sometimes they're.
collectively, a lot of the AOS guys were freaking tools. But aside
I hear a
from
lot of
that,
them
we
went to
had.
BattleTech.
Oh man, oh man. So
I'll leave that right alone. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the doubles, I did the doubles with Andrew on
Uh huh.
Friday.
Yeah.
I don't really remember a whole lot from that day. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure if it was the substance abuse or if it was just, it's been a while and I didn't like write anything down right away. But considering I have a fairly clear memory of the singles games, it might be the substance abuse. So, anyways, in, in the singles tournament, so okay, so the list I took was a lot of infantry, and I told you I was a little worried that it was going to be exhausting. It wasn't too bad, um, but it was really just like a couple of trucks and
Yeah.
just a, uh, 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 did I put a battle wagon in there? Man, I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, there's a battle wagon in there,
Speaking of
and
blur.
yeah, right. A unit of tank busters, a unit of 2 units of looters in a truck, some boys that were just kind of on foot, a 3-man unit of mega knobs and a 5-man unit of knobs in a truck with a war boss. So that was a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
And some commandos and a lot of storm boys, like a bunch, like 30, 40, no, 30, I think 30 storm boys total, 15, 10, and 5. And it was pretty good playing it. I definitely wasn't really well prepared. I think if I'd taken my list that had like 4 trucks in it, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I played against Adeptus Sororitas. That was a really fun game. Um, the sisters have a lot of answers to a lot of my stuff, but
Yeah.
I think I did pretty well in that game. Then I played against Necrons, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, the Necron list that's good is really good against my army. It
Oh.
was the most one-sided game I had all weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I got hosed in that game, like
Did you make it
real
to round
bad.
2 or turn 2?
Oh, I did, but like I don't know. So the good Necron list, it makes everything objective secured in their list,
Yeah.
and all of their troops become double objective secured. Which
Oh.
my list is that's the shtick. I'm using the Death Skulls, which is all the infantry become objective secured.
Yeah.
So all of his vehicles are still objective. He actually gets objective secured vehicles, which
Oh.
yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
So
So
it'd be
so
easier to
yeah,
say what doesn't get objective secured in his army.
yeah. And I think everything does. I think it all does, and a
Wow.
lot of stuff
Okay.
in mine doesn't. So I couldn't play that game, and there was a few other things that were, oh yeah, and he was so resilient too, and he could like deny objectives, and like my whole thing is just throw trash at him and deny objectives and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully come out in the end.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it against him. He just totally nailed me to the wall. The best part about that game though was when he got a little cocky and charged in with his lord on, it's like a little throne thing. I forget what it's called, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
lord sitting on a sweet like flying hovering throne thing.
Oh.
He
Yeah, I know
charged
what you're
me.
talking about.
He charged me, and I had one tank busta left, and I popped the tank busta bomb stratagem,
Uh-huh.
And it's if you hit with it, he only gets one model gets one attack. But if they hit with it, you do 2d3 mortal wounds to a vehicle. And I did 6 mortal wounds, and he died. It was great.
Ooh. Ooh. There you go.
That was fun. It was really funny. But really, that was more a parting shot because he ran away with it.
Yeah.
Then I played against. I actually drew against Andrew in round 3, and so we played more substance abuse game. I mean, I played against his Adeptus Sororitas / Grey Knights list, and that game was just idiotic. We had a nice time. Then the next day, I played against Death Guard. I did pretty good in that game, still lost, but my army did everything it was supposed to do. I was able to keep him at arm's length, and if you keep Death Guard at arm's length and they don't move forward, because I was baiting him on the flanks and stopping him from moving forward in the middle. If you stop Death Guard from moving, they're going to be totally impeded. He only won by a very slim margin.
Okay.
Then my last game, and he was also one of our club mates, so that was interesting. And then I played against Ultramarines. That was a really fun game in the end. Kid had just a standard. He had the Volkite Dreadnought and the Super Plasma Primaris Dreadnought, a bunch of infantry, and interceptors. I don't know, the ones that can infiltrate in the middle of the battlefield, and also Vanguard veterans. Of course, I sent my Storm Boys to fight the Vanguard veterans and everything like that. Now, I did. My army did everything it was supposed to do, and only lost by a slim margin in that game. So that was really good. I had a fun time.
Yeah.
Really had a fun time. I'm glad I did it. I understand a lot more about the game. I think I cheated in like every game though. I haven't looked it up yet. I need to look up the rules.
Yeah.
But I thought that if you have objective secured and your opponent have objective secured, you go by the number of objective secured models.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but I think it might be that if you both have objective secured models on an objective, you go for total models, not just objective secured models. So I think I was cheating the whole time, but I lost so bad it doesn't matter.
Got it.
Yeah, I was hoping to be going to play Crusade games this week at Curtis's house.
Yeah,
I'm really itching to play some Crusade, especially with my orcs, so that we can do an episode on Orc Crusade.
Yeah.
This whole house has been sick. I don't want to get everybody sick.
Yeah,
it's annoying. I'm gonna have to email work too, be like, what do I do? Because now that we have work from home, right? I could just work from home and be fine. I can do stuff. I just don't want to get anybody sick. So it's one of those things where, are you going to force me to take sick time, or can I just work from home and do my work?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to come in and get everybody sick? I'll give you those 3 options. You know what I'm saying? Jason, we need to get a game in. I want to play a game with you.
Yeah, definitely. The big project I've been working on since, oh my god, it's been years. Since August? September? I finally finished my part literally last Tuesday. And at 1 o'clock I finished it, and then I sat there and stared at my computer screen for 10 minutes because I realized I had finished.
Right? You just can't believe it.
And I was like, but I have 4 hours that I have unaccounted for. What do I do? And it was really weird to have that sort of block of freedom.
Yeah.
So that's I can start gaming again probably. Hey, look at my schedule, but I think I can actually kind of start this weekend. I was supposed to get a game in with Keith this last Monday, but I was still working on the project that would not die. It kept rolling 6s no matter how many times I took it out. finally got with the melted gun and bye bye. Anyway, I was supposed to get a game with Keith, but end of semester has been knocking out my free time.
Yeah.
My last class is on. Well, the last class I teach this semester, not the last of my class, is on Wednesday. So I can actually start doing things either on Thursday or Friday. And I've got stuff on meetings on Thursday. So Friday I'm going to start trying to do stuff again, get my... Now that I've actually read my codex, how bougie.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, even if it's just kill team or something, I'd love to start a few games with you, because
I want to
just meeting twice a month isn't enough for me.
I know I have that effect on people.
Right? Right? Man, I can't wait to not buy these battle forces.
Oh, have you been okay, yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad they didn't do like a battle force for Thousand Suns or some army that I don't realize I need to get into.
Like, they have an Orcs one, but
don't you have all of that?
I have everything.
Okay.
I have 4 Jockey Jets. I have...
Oh, God, that's right.
I have 50-something knobs. I have 2 Def Killer War Trikes.
Uh-huh.
There's also
you have
boys.
2 of those? Oh, yeah, because you built one, yeah.
I built one out of the Squig Buggy. It comes with 20 boys, and I'm like, no. And 10 Gretchen. That's like the only one I would actually want. And it does come with the newer, by newer I mean like, 10 years old or whatever, shock attack gun, but
okay.
I have I don't need that.
No, you need like 2nd edition Grots. That's what you need.
No. You shut your mouth. How dare you?
Okay, sorry about that.
I might just go ahead and 3D print a bunch of Slangor and send them to you.
What are those? I mean, I know there's Slanesh
or Zangor. Sorry, Zangor.
Oh, actually, I know how to paint those guys quickly, so I'm not terribly worried.
Right, and man, I mean the Lumineth one looks really good, but like, it only comes with 5 Kangaroo cavalry, so why bother?
Kangaroo cavalry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen that, you need to see it, because it's pretty great. Kangaroo Cavalry, and then there's a Kangaroo Cavalry character who's super awesome. Yeah, it's an amazing... I want just that. I want just an army of just all Kangaroo Cavalry. I don't even think that's possible with the rules, but I don't care. I'll do it.
Let's see. Hold on. Who is this again I'm looking for?
Oh, you want to see it? It's the Vanari. Or sorry, it's the Lumineth Realm Lords.
Okay, Lumineth.
Yeah. The Lumineth Realm Lords, they're like elves who settled the realm of light, and like they were resurrected by their god. They were like rescued from Slanesh by their god and set up as like this paragon of what elves should be, but of course they degenerated into their usual single-minded, I want to be awesome, I am more awesome than everybody else, freaking Third Reich bullshit. But they're still really cool.
Nice color scheme.
Oh yeah, I just linked you to the kangaroo riding character. Dude, it's literally the best thing in the whole. And they also have mountain men. And by mountain men, I mean men made of mountains. I'm not joking. This is a thing. Like, it's a giant mountain monster. It's a monster that's a mountain. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I've got to start like kind of watching more what's happening over in the AOS area. At the very least, so I can, use, I don't know, proxies for demons or something. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Here, this is great. This is great radio for everybody. Here's a link to the Kangaroo Kangaroo Cavalry.
All right, let me find that.
Look at how great they are. It's
Okay,
in
let me
it's in
get
the
the.
Zencaster
Okay, so
chat. Jesus,
there's. I know, I'm old. Here we go.
technology.
Those are
Aren't
kangaroos?
aren't they delightful? Well, they're not like real.
Yeah, I
They're
guess they kind of are.
space fantasy kangaroos with horns,
Yeah, I
and
guess they are. Yeah.
not as well endowed as actual kangaroos,
Huh. Are we
which is
getting
unfortunate,
frightening
certainly.
close to me having to sit there and figure out how to like censor things?
All right. Anyways,
Anyway,
with that digression behind us, let's go beyond the fringe. That was my goat. Beyond the fringe.
the greatest of all time. Okay.
So I had Shauna's wedding this past week, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. I met her when she was 7.
Whoa.
Wendy was 17. Shauna was 7. I was 19, and
Whoa.
so it's been really weird. It was a weird
Yeah.
day. I cried like 3 times.
Aw. Well, there's that really great picture of Wendy holding Quinn like he was like completely wiped.
Oh yeah, no nap. Yeah, there's the wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
Like he had to be there for pictures at 1:30. You know when his nap time starts? 1:00. There was no way to get pregame nap in.
That nap.
There was no pregame. There was no way to get a nap in. He was. I am surprised he walked down the aisle. I am surprised he made it that far. But he was a good boy. He had a nice time, but he didn't get to dance and party, which he does like to do, but it was just too much for him. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, this wedding had a band, and usually I don't want to cast aspersions, but honestly, any wedding I've been to and there's a band has been awful. Because a lot of the time it's like a lot of like lounge music and like stuff that old people dance to, like old people, and it hasn't been great. And every once in a while they'll like play a record or a disc or something just to give the band a break. But usually it's just awful. But this band was amazing.
Nice.
First of all, it was, how do I say this delicately? I can't say it delicately, so I'm going to say it indelicately. It wasn't just all lounge singing Caucasians. It was actually a good diverse range of humanity, and they played. If you want, like, if you go to a normal wedding and you're like, I expect to hear these songs to dance to, they sung them because they had the skill and the talent to sing them properly, and so it was a great time.
Good.
We spent a lot of time, dude. I went into a wedding. I came out of the other side of a wedding where there were like 3 dinners and desserts and drinking, lots of drinking, very drinking. 1 pound lighter. Like I lost weight at this wedding. Okay, that's how great the band was. So I'm very
got
pleased.
There, shake your booty. Got it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
you got to shake the booty.
Shake the moneymaker. Get it out there.
Yeah, Wendy had a great time too.
Good.
And our friends took Quinn for the night, and that was pretty great. And
That's
Sonny
awesome.
was at doggy daycare, which was also pretty great.
That sounds like you had a good time.
Someone was like, "Oh, did you know that Brandon, my brother-in-law, Brandon needs to stay in your room, right?" And Wendy goes, we don't get a lot of days without a kid or dog. That's not happening. No, he's not staying with us.
Brandon can go sleep in the car. He's good. I know him. I've known him for a while. He can go sleep in the car. He's good.
He'll be fine in the car.
He'll be fine. Just roll the window down like an inch. He'll be fine.
Yeah. What did you find beyond the fringe, Jason?
All right. So, there's a place in San Antonio called the Dogfather, which is it's a hot dog place that's, I guess you could call it gourmet hot dogs. I don't know. but they're back and open. They last June they had to close for a wee bit because their roof caved in. And the day that their roof caved in, I showed up because of course I would. And they still had their hot dog truck, their food truck, and so I ate outside and like, well, we're not sure what's going on, but we're not shutting down, but we've got to do like repair work. And so they finally got everything back today, or they finally got everything fixed this past week, finalized and everything, and so they're back. They're not paying me. If they want to pay me, they can give me food because the food's really good. Awesome. I got the Gadi Gasada, so everything's kind of like Godfather themed, which is a hot dog with carne guisada, which is beef tips in gravy, which is an entree and border food, and really they're using this entree as a topping, and it's quite possibly the best that I've had. Or at least top 3 or 4.
If you're putting chili at a hot dog, why not other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, man, I sat there and ate it. I'm just like, oh, this is gonna tear me up later, but I don't care. Kind of gets the pico de gallo. I think there was what's the word in English? Avocado on it as well. I mean, it was everything plus curly fries. And I'm just sitting there just chowing down on it thinking, yeah, this is what I want.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. So it's on South San Pedro, or not South San, but it's on San Pedro, south of 410, if you're in the San Antonio area. So
that's awesome. So we're gonna I love to hear that. We're gonna copy pasta our book reports for the next episode.
Yeah. Because
I am ejecting blood profusely from my nose currently because I moved my nose during the break.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
Take a quick break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about Warzone Octarius Book 2, Critical Mass. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Armand can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
Come here, boy, get the ball. Aw, come on, Max, get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zodabix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zot's natural habitat, the finest desert deserts.
Ah!
Zodabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zots are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached. Welcome back. So, Warzone Octarius Book 2, Critical Mass. Thank you, Games Workshop, for sending us a free copy of this. I believe, Jason, did you buy a copy of this?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Well, that'll make this a lot easier if you did.
Yeah, I try and pick up all this stuff because, it helps keep my LGS in business.
Yeah.
I'm making sure that Daw's daughter can go to college.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Hi,
I like
Daw.
that. That's good. I like that. All right. So, let's start off. So this is split into two major sections. One is the war for the Sigma Ulstari system, and then the other section is the Octarius system itself. So this whole thing is, about the Octarius sector, but in the center of that is the Octarius system. And so it actually goes through the goings on there. But let's kind of get the. So the book is a little light on lore. Actually, I'll tell you that right off the bat.
Okay.
The first book had a lot of lore, and it actually had like a neat little bookmark that came with it, like a spine bookmark. This one didn't, and it's actually pretty light. So this part of the coverage is going to be pretty light, and also I feel like the lore here was not as. I felt like the first book was better written. I'll just say
that seems.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the first book I felt more well written than the second.
Well, I think the issue might be. This has happened before in other books that have been double books or triples. Is that you get the lore in the first book, and you get some rules in the first book. But the second book has more rules than lore. Mm-hmm. And is that kind of what happened here also, or is it? Because it seems like it's got a lot of campaign stuff.
I didn't math that out, but it's entirely possible. This does have a lot of campaign stuff, and this one does have missions in it that we'll go over when we talk about it. I don't think the last one. No, the first book in the 2-book series didn't have any missions in it. So maybe you might be right. But anyways, so the war for the Sigma Ulstari system. So this system is within the Cordon, but you remember, if you recall, everything within the Cordon and Penetra is just totally abandoned by the Imperium.
Yeah.
And they're just using their cries for help as a way to give them intel on how the war is going in the Octarius system. So, but
that's so cynical.
The Sigma Ulstari system, it hasn't been abandoned. It's kind of like a nexus point for this communication, and it's also got a lot of production. So it's a very industrial system, and its leader is actually a fabricator general of the main world there. So it had a well-functioning astropathic relay and a lot of Skitarii forces. So it's been attacked over and over and over again. And the Skitarii forces have held out or been replaced over time. But even a powerful Imperial world with a lot of production capacity is going to start suffering from attrition before too long, right?
Right.
So the most recent invasions included Tyranids. They had actually evolved to resist Sigma Ulstari's acid seas. Ooh. So Everybody saw all the spores drop into the ocean, and they were like, "Yay! They've been corroded to death." And then the Tyranids come sloshing out of the water, totally fine.
Of course,
they're very upset about that. And those forces were actually followed closely by a huge group of orcs led by a snakebite war boss named Worldkiller.
Mm-hmm.
He and his forces swept through the system, wiping out the Skitarii and Tyranids, and they made a direct line for the Fabricator General Flagstock's capital forge of Alpha Primeros.
Mm-hmm.
The fighting was intense between the elated orcs, which were comprised of huge mobs of what they called steam gargants, which would be fun to... Those would be really fun, like steampunk orc robots.
Right.
That would be really cool to model. Beast Snagas and Squigoths. And the Imperial forces, including the Skitarii and the legions of Legio Ferocastum, and the Night Houses Securus and Galerius. These are all kind of not... I haven't heard of those. So the story of this orc invasion was a good opportunity to show a proper orc tactics without a lot of quote unquote mucking about.
Yeah.
I think we see a lot of exceptions to the rule in Warhammer. Sometimes they want to keep things interesting and show that, the orcs can surprise you from time to time.
Right.
This was not a very surprising modus operandi. They landed and they were like, "Oh yeah, go forward," and overwhelm them with numbers and brute force. So
what's a
Worldkiller?
tactic?
Yeah, it is. Worldkiller he sent his hordes of boys through the toppled remains of Alpha Primeros with no regard for tactics or his troops' safety. And the boys had a great time clambering through the wreckage, ferreting out survivors and destroying enemy positions, and laughing at the orcs who died through hilarious OSHA violating mishaps. So imagine all these buildings, toppled sideways or toppled in on themselves, and the orcs just kind of go through it or over it with Gretchen at their heels, cruelly torturing people to death, and etc. Orkiness. Yeah. So, yes, Jason, you want to pick it up there?
Yeah. So the fun was both intensified and ruined when a battle group of Indominus Fleet Primaris. How did I get Primaris out of that?
Primaris?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's been a long week. So the Black Templars and Rogue Trader Ava Falamar's flotilla showed up. There's a belabored fight scene reminiscent of a 7th edition campaign book between High Marshal Helbrecht and Worldkiller. 3 guesses who won on that.
A lot of adjectives and verbs get reused, like sometimes in the same sentence, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. All right. Despite being a rather banal and predictable fight, it was cool that the battle was fought on the huge howdah of a massive Squigoth. That's funny.
It's pretty great. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That must be a massive Squigoth for both. It
was they had some big Squigoths.
Yeah. Okay. So Rogue Trader Falamor. Okay. Also provided military support, her forces actually being quite significant. Of course, the differences between her and the Black Templars is that she expects to make a profit from the situation one way or the other. Yeah. The Sigma Ulstari system finds itself in a precarious position. Much of its production Wow, man, I'm totally off tonight. Okay. Much of its production capabilities have been destroyed and their forces are decimated. It's unlikely that many, if any, Black Templars will remain in the system for long. Helbrecht is on the hunt for a Gazgul, after all, and the Templars are always itching for a crusade. Similarly, Fleet Primus needs to keep on crusading. It seems likely that Inquisitor Shahanson? Yeah. It seems likely that Inquisitor Shahanson won't support the system for much longer. This leaves Falamar in the enviable position of now being Fabricator General Flagstock's very best friend. Yeah. Wow, man, this one totally tore me up tonight. Cool.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, Shahanson, if you recall, was the Inquisitor who's kind of in charge of the court in Impenetra.
That's right. I
mean,
blanked for a couple of weeks there.
No, well, and it's a fun word. It's a fun word.
That too.
Yeah, no, it's good. And it also, don't forget that Inquisitor Cryptman is also kind of watching things from afar. A lot of the in-character text throughout this book are from an Inquisitor with the initials JBZ, whose salutation is "Ever your most faithful servant," and it's addressed to Cryptman. This book is the voice of this book is a report to Inquisitor Cryptman on the goings on.
Interesting.
Even though he doesn't appear as being an actor, as an antagonist or protagonist in this story. So I wanted to shift gears here and talk a little bit more about Rogue Trader Ava Falamore. This is kind of one of the special treats in this book. The exposition, and in the other book, so like the exposition on Inquisitors in the previous one and the Rogue Traders in this one are a nice treat. We're going to cover the rules for both of these in an upcoming episode, perhaps the next episode.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet. So let me read this personal entourage section in the book. So this just talks about everything she has at her disposal.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about just I wanted to actually quote the personal entourage section. Ava Falamore's personal entourage consists of tech priests, bounty hunters, biologians, military officers, techno-archaeologists, strategos, ciphers, cartographers, logisters, death cult assassins, rejuvent adepts, administrators, missionaries, sanctioned psychers, astropaths, navigators, and vassal rogue traders from other lesser dynasties. Yeah.
Okay.
It also included Xenos from a number of races, including Jacaro, Chikanti, Eldari, and Kroot. This retinue was several hundred strong at least, and membership of its inner and outer circles changed frequently, depending on Falamore's needs and the performance of any given individual. As such, competition among Falamore's associates was rife. Note that in the actual action on Sigma Ulstari, she did not bring any of her... Well, none of the Xenos Xenos pals were present, at least visibly at this, because Black Templars.
Yeah. We have reason to believe that Falamore frequently operates accompanied by Kroot war spheres and Aldari Corsair ships. That is an interesting sentence right there.
Yeah.
Was it page 30? Yeah.
She's pretty great. Your hymnal's on page 30 if you want to read more about her. So, in addition to the personal entourage, she has impressive personnel army at her disposal, like greater than 50 infantry regiments. She calls the Falamore Expeditionaries, and her 20 divisions of armor are called the Falamore Wealth Claimers. She also has airborne Falamore Rangers, and her Falamore Wealth Guards are her Void Defense Marines.
Oh, wow. Boarding action troops.
Yeah. Among her forces are various abhumans, including Ogren, Ratlings, Beastmen, and Nightsiders. Now, we've briefly covered Nightsiders before. Just as a reminder, they're abhumans who were developed for life on dark worlds, or like the dark side of a world.
Yeah, I remember them.
They're gifted with like echolocation and other adaptations.
Real quick, what were the... What was it? Where was it? Where'd it go? Chikanti? Yeah.
I don't remember. We would have to look that up.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And you know, all the dregs of society. A rogue trader is in the enviable position of being able to be both, you know, just as horribly fascist and gross as the Imperium itself, or be a lot more progressive with their beliefs and their methodologies because they have great leeway. So that's why I think rogue traders are so compelling as characters, because you can actually you can they can appeal to you on a human level if you want them to.
Yeah,
I think that's great. Or
there's
not,
also,
as you desire.
There's also Falmod was accompanied by an honor guard from the Brethren Esoteric Chapter.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
She's been more than happy to help transport like free blades and space marines all the time, but these Brethren Esoterics, they are like honor bound to her. Nobody knows why or what event caused that, but they are with her. So that's really interesting. Now I think this really shows how cool it would be to build a rogue trader army in Warhammer, and why narrative play is so cool, because you can still do an mixed Imperium army without a whole lot of fuss and muss. I know a lot of folks prefer to continue to play 100% by the book with Crusade, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would suggest being a little more lenient with people who mix things up, and of course, if you're mixing it up, to try not to take advantage of that rules wise, but I don't see why you would.
Well, there's some really cool stuff in here for the fleet assets too.
Oh yeah. So it's
wow.
A Tyrant class cruiser, which is the long range plasma batteries and torpedoes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time it sacrificed firepower for range, if I recall correctly. But some of the upgunned ones actually have both range and firepower somehow.
Vengeance class Grand Cruiser.
Yeah, Vengeance class Grand Cruiser, a Gothic class cruiser. That's the one with lance batteries and torpedoes. Now she also has 2 Conquest class Star Galleons. These are about the same size as a regular cruiser. It's like 5 kilometers long. But they're hollowed out to carry cargo.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yet they still have high firepower gun decks and stuff. So they were first commissioned by the Emperor himself to the very first rogue traders, presumably because at the start of the Crusade, it's very dangerous in the galaxy. Like, even it was unknown what was out there, so you had to be well protected. You had to have a good offensive capability to survive out in the unknown depths of the galaxy.
Yeah.
So that's what those are. And then, of course, she's got dozens and dozens of escort class vessels and freighters. And if you look at this list and do a Google search for each one, there's a Battlefleet Gothic miniature for just about all of it, or an entry in the Rogue Trader role-playing game. So give it a shot, give it a look, and I think you'll be pleased with the dark tunnel of internet clicking you go through.
Here's a sentence I'm enjoying. Unknown quantity and dubious variety of dropships and landers. Some with suspected illegal modifications. Many heavily armed and armored.
Yeah, a lot of the base bulk transports are upgunned with weapons of dubious legality.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
just checking.
Yoshi's licking his areas. Good for him.
Oh, yeah, he's back behind me, isn't he? Hold on, I don't have.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, there's just an orb of negative space over your shoulder, which I'm assuming is Yoshi.
Yeah, that's him. He's cleaning himself. Yeah. Wait, did we go through that entire? Why would that entire that chat?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
That is Eva Falmore. There's a bunch more information about her And there's also like a sidebar about the there's a big sidebar about the Swarm Lord. But I thought that that was an interesting point to talk about before we move into the war in the Octarius system.
Yeah, it's funny you'd written all that stuff down and we just sat there and just chatted through it. Oh, you even had the weapons of dubious legality. Good. It was a plot point that caught my eye. All right, so let's then talk about the war in the Actuarius system. The Octarius system itself has almost no human presence to speak of, save various incursions by the forces of the Blood God and the failed campaigns of Inquisitors with delusions of grandeur. Isn't that more of a feature rather than a bug? But whatever.
Yeah, right?
I like this. And speaking of delusions of grandeur, Inquisitor Van Roth and his Valoria experiment.
Right?
No traces of him or the crown he stole from the orcs have been found. In a Schrodinger-esque parallel universe, Van Roth is either dead, boring, or he's still wearing the crown and is now a new war boss in the Octarius sector.
I like the latter much better. I think that would be awesome. Can you imagine?
That would be an awesome war boss.
Yeah, because the orcs were all following the location of the crown, right? They want it. They're like moths to a flame, and it created this huge bubble of like the hive mind doesn't work in this area, right? How great would it be if the crown altered his behavior and he just out of pure survival instinct started ordering orcs around? And it would be so cool if he was actually like an orc war boss. I would love that.
Yeah, like maybe he goes through, slight changes to become more orky.
Right, he paints his skin green. That's racist. Or like puts tusks in his mouth. That would be amazing. I would love that.
There's some modeling opportunities there that you might want to think about. I'm not saying you should.
Someone else can think about it. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Mainly the worlds there have been swinging between Orc and Tyranid control for years, and the balance has been tipping first one way, then the other. Whenever one side of the conflict has advantage, that gives both sides the impetus to seek new prospects. The Blood Wave, which brought Khorne demons and cultists in its wake, created a massive disruption in Krypton's lovingly crafted stalemate. The Swarm Lords saw this as an opportunity to take the upper hand and devour the Overfiend of Octarius once and for all. The Hive Mind is a calculating entity. It knows that the best way to deal a decisive blow against the Orcs is to cut off the head. The Hive Mind is also not without malevolent emotion, and the Overfiend had already claimed the Swarm Lord's head as a trophy once, and they were probably kind of put out by that because
they're probably unhappy about having been killed by the Overfiend already. So let's get some revenge.
Stuffing the head and putting it over the mantle is
which he literally did.
Yeah. It's amazing how that just annoys people.
Yeah.
All right. So worlds throughout the Octarius system fell to the Tyranids one after the other. The tendrils of Leviathan swelled with biomass in preparation for the final push on the Overfiend himself on Octaria. One of the more interesting wars was for the Beast Snaga world of Bad Squig. Bad Wolf? Sorry, Bad Squig. Mm-hmm. There, the Hive Mind devised a white whale for the war boss, Storm Krumpa Big Kill, to chase down. Well, actually, it was a massive fluorescent blue bioform with the shining yellow that he called the Blue One. At any rate, the quarry was designed by the Hive Mind to be far too enticing for Storm Krumpa or any other Beast Snaga to resist. Of course, in the end, the Tyranids caught the majority of Storm Krumpa's forces in an ambush as they were fighting the Blue One, and they were slain to an orc. That's an interesting...
Yeah. The Tyranid... The Tyranid... was not created as a powerful weapon to kill orcs or orc vehicles or anything like that. It was created to be a irresistible bait for Stomp Krumpa and his boys. And they the Hive Mind shoved it forward, baited them out. I think it was moving through a valley with not a whole lot of Gribblies to defend it. And Stomp Krumpa charged everybody over, attacked it, and then they were surrounded and all slain. It's pretty cool. The hive mind does not mess around. You can't underestimate the hive mind's cunning ability to adjust its tactics as well as its bioforms.
Yeah, we refer to percussion sections and orchestra and band as the hive mind because of the way that they have to work together, and it's just amazing to watch them just do things without telling each other, what they're doing, but it all gets done. It's rather odd.
Yeah, I guess it's one thing to play more I don't know what's the adjective, like melodic instrument, because like if you're all just kind of trailing off at the end, that's kind of fine. It all kind of mushes together for the common ear. But if a drum beat is off,
oh yeah,
everybody notices it.
A wrong note is heartburn. A wrong rhythm is a heart attack.
That sounds correct. Yes.
I have heard that said by many, many faculty. And yes, I heard it as a student. Yeah, okay.
So on Octaria, the end came in a slow war of attrition. The massive hive ships, pregnant with biomass from throughout the system, disgorged countless bioforms onto the world. The hive mind ate Octaria one little piece at a time. Although the Overfiend and his boys fought ferociously, one wonders if the Overfiend's true mistake was lacking in initiative. It was the Swarmlord who came to them, continuing to hammer at the worlds over and over, weakening them. In time, the Tyranids developed flesh, which was poisonous for the orcs to eat.
Oh.
And starvation and disease was the end of the orcs as much as any Tyranid claw or mandible. One wonders what the result of the war would have been if the Overfiend had remained on the offensive throughout the conflict rather than resting on their laurels. This means, of course, that the true victor was the previous Overfiend who left with Gazgul years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of the last note of Octarius, is that the Swarmlord is in fact victorious, and the orcs are quite scattered.
The poisoned poisoned Tyranid flesh is man, that's rough.
Right?
That's
again, just like the bait creature and all the like the hive mind is not messing around.
No, they're not.
And the cool thing is they can adapt so quickly. Can you imagine the Imperium trying to develop some kind of virus that they could infect their population with and to kill the Tyranids? It would take forever to develop that kind of thing and spread it and everything like that.
Well, by the time they did it, the Tyranids would have eaten everything anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows? We can't put it past them.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the lore. Again, it was pretty anemic. There's a lot of fun stuff in there, like a few fun little notes. Later when we talk about the legendary missions, we touch on some of those things. But give it a look. I'm sure you'll buy the book anyways. Again, there's a lot of cool rules and stuff in there, which we're going to talk about right after this break.
Hey Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith Party Bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons. For 736 points, you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar, 15 Incubi, and a Tantalus, aka the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure you could, but it wouldn't be the Slith Party On! But is it legal? Oh yeah! Is it awesome? Oh yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slith Party On!
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 hour a night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det er ikke bikkje, det er en slags ting. Den imiterer bikkje, men det er ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. Welcome back. So, this book has some cool campaign info in it. Some of it seems a little copy pasta from the previous one, but a lot of it is not. So we'll try to give you the relevant details as we go through. So first of all, there's like a section on Allies of Convenience with advice for the campaign master on how to include people with different armies that are not Tyranids, Black Templars, or Orcs.
That's interesting. Did they go through and talk about like maybe your
just
elves?
Give little details like who they're working for, what their motivations might be.
Okay.
Then for the missions, oddly, so for all these tree campaign diagrams that they have in here, all the diagrams assume you are grabbing them from the main Crusade section of the main rulebook and not the Crusade mission packs. Which I thought it does not assume you have any of the previous Crusade mission packs. So that's kind of a miss in my opinion. I really think at least say give an option, either this one from the main Crusade mission pack, or you can use this one from like Beyond the Veil or whatever. Each campaign tree is arranged in 5 phases, the overall campaign itself has 5 phases, and each phase has 4 stages, with the 4th stage ending in one of the legendary missions. So each phase of the campaign is fighting over a specific world in the Octarius system. And it's themed to that world, and I think they did a pretty good job. Just spoiler alert. Also, there are new victor bonuses on page 42 of your hymnals, which is nice. So the last one had a bunch of victor bonuses, and this one has also victor bonuses, and they're not copy pasted. Do you have
I've got 2 die with me.
You got a D33? Okay, roll 1 for yourself. Now, again, don't forget, a lot of the time the campaign master should just decide what is the most thematic victor bonus for each stage, but you can just roll them too, and this is what we're going to do. All right, what did you get?
All right, I rolled 16 Indomitable Defenders. Our forces have learned how to gain maximum protection from even scant cover. So at the start of the battle, you can select 1 infantry unit from your army. While that unit has the benefit of light cover, it has the following ability. Solid defense. Each time an attack with an AP characteristic of -1 is allocated to model with this ability, that attack has an armor penetration characteristic of 0 instead.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Roll 1 for me, will you?
All right. Let me re-roll that one. Okay. 34.
34. Counter assault. Spotting a weakness in the foe as they extend their lines, our forces strike back, driving a wedge into their defenses. If you lost your previous battle, do not use the rules described in the determine first turn step of the mission pack. Instead, you can choose whether you will take the first or second turn. Wow!
Oh, yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's especially considering how many of these narrative mission packs count on someone going first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure the answer is here somewhere, but I have looked and looked and looked, and I can't see how long these victor bonuses are supposed to last. Like I read through it, and maybe I don't have very good reading comprehension. I would assume that they only last until the campaign is over. You don't get them in the next campaign.
Well, I do see that the victor bonus for the final stage of the final phase of your campaign must always be final stand.
Right.
So I'm assuming that these just start stacking?
They do. The final battle looms. All our hopes and resources are pinned on it. The other worlds of the Octarius system lie behind us, and we must succeed here or be lost entirely. This bonus can only apply to the final stage of an Octarius system campaign. If the campaign lasted for 5 phases, increase your alliance's total strategic value by 2. So and that's a end campaign, like who won type situation.
Yeah.
So anyways, I would probably suggest that these only apply to the current campaign when you do them, and then reset.
It looks like it's that campaign tree only. I mean, it doesn't say it exactly, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the first paragraph.
Right. I think you're right. So, because it would just get crazy.
Oh yeah.
Whatever's good, whatever works for your group. But I think that would be my suggestion. So, unless I'm wrong, and then they actually do tell you what to do, and I'm just missing it.
I didn't see it.
It might be under tree campaigns. Actually, it might actually be under the actual stages of the campaign that it tells you.
This does come with a bunch of predetermined campaign trees, pages 41 through 40 something.
Yeah, here it is, buddy. It's under campaign stages. Once the victor is determined, the victorious alliance gains that stage's victor bonus. All players in that alliance gain the listed victor bonus, which they can use for the remainder of the campaign. So when the campaign's over, you get rid of those. All right. So campaign master's edicts, this just ways to even out the campaign for people or reward people for good play. One of them is a full-scale bombardment, which I think in my opinion, the Planet Strike mission pack does better. I would go ahead and use that instead. The critical missions are interesting.
There we are.
There's something like this in... I think I remember seeing something like this for Kill Team. I think that's correct. Where you can send you can kind of, the campaign master can put together a special secondary objective for your army to complete during this mission.
Okay, yeah.
Let me read Hold the Line. So hold the line. If the enemy breaks through here, all is lost. Hold them back at all costs. This critical mission is successful if, at the end of the battle, there are no enemy units within 6 inches of your battlefield edge.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of those things where you want to go second. You want to make sure
definitely.
they're cleared out. If you do it, if you succeed in that, whether you win the game or not, you don't have to win the game to succeed at this. You get 1 Warzone point, which is part of the victory conditions for the campaign. If this is a Crusade battle, gain 1 requisition point. If it's a matched play campaign, then during your first command phase of your next battle, gain 1 additional command point. I love the idea of them providing ways for people who prefer matched play to also do campaigns. That's nice.
That is nice.
And they think about it for these rewards and stuff too. So this is cool. I like this. It's, again, we've always talked in the past, right, about giving yourself personal goals throughout a game that you know is going to be one-sided against you.
Yeah.
And this actually gives you that opportunity in writing. And it gives you guidelines for doing it. And it gives you rewards for doing it. I think it's neat. I like this.
Like infiltrate. There's all the missions are kind of like that as I'm reading over. That, you can still lose the game, but still win this critical mission.
Right.
Like there's infiltrate, which, this critical mission is successful if at the end of the battle you have 1 or more units from your army within 6 inches of your opponent's battlefield edge. which meant you could be completely dead except for that one guy on on a jet bike or whatever who managed to go hide in that one corner.
Yeah.
Or that one Nurgling, or that Nurglings are going to get across the board. What are we talking about? Let's not be crazy.
No, let's not. No.
Yeah.
No, they don't count in the grand scheme of things. Now, this does remind me of the special thing that you can do in the planet. I think it was the Planet Strike missions where you could send a unit on a special mission just on their own, and that like while they're in strategic reserves, they're doing something. If you remember that, correct? Was that in the last one? I thought that was
familiar.
Yeah, that was really cool. So stuff like this that's like another layer on top of things is totally great for narrative play.
Yeah.
Certainly not for like the first thing you ever do. You got to make sure that people are comfortable. This is a good thing to add if people are already comfortable with the game, I think.
Right. Can I just say that I love the name Bad Squig for a world?
It's great, right?
Yeah. I keep thinking Bad Wolf, that's because that's
would you like to go over the legendary mission for Bad Squig?
Yeah, let's do that.
I would like to read the mission briefing for each one as we go through.
Okay, go for it. This is page 54 of your hymnals.
Mm-hmm.
At some point GW is going to start calling these hymnals because they seem to like to listen to us sometimes.
I think they're required to by their bosses to listen to our ramblings every once in a while, just to see if we mention the products.
Chibi Marines. Did I mention the Chibi Marines? Wait, did I even?
Oh, they're listening. No, you didn't mention that. Actually.
Oh, oops. Yeah, I bought the Chibi Marines. There's a Blood Raven in there. Yes. Raven Guard. Yeah, good. And there's some other cool things. Oh, there's hold on, Kakaradon, Space Shark. Yeah. Lots of cool ones. I know that advent calendars don't start until the 1st, but it's mine. I don't care. So, there we go.
All right, dude. You want to do Bad Squig?
All right, Bad Squig. You want to read the mission briefing real quick?
No, you read the mission briefing.
Okay. Mission briefing. The endless stalemate in the Octarius system is shifting. The grinding war of attrition is breaking apart. Forces from all sides strike hard, seeking to push back their enemy's position and unseat its forces from this world. I like this. All right, so it's a feral world with lots of snake bites and human slaves where Stomp Krumpa was ambushed while hunting the blue one. The blue one's going to make me laugh for a while. I mean, that's basically Moby Dick, right?
It literally is, yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's what's screaming to me.
Yes, yeah, Hubris killed Stomp Krumpa.
Yeah. All right, so break the stalemate, raid the mission briefing. All right, 5 objectives down the center of the battlefield with long deployment zones on either side. So that's what the map looks like.
Yeah, come get it.
Yeah. If both players have units with the objective secured ability within range of an objective marker, then neither player controls it. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. However, if they do control at the start of their command phase, they can move it 6 inches towards their opponent's battlefield edge. This affects scoring. So they move it away from their battlefield edge.
Yeah, you'll see in a minute.
Oh, okay. Progressive scoring, 5 points for controlling any objectives. 5 points if 2 or more objectives are closer to the opponent's battlefield edge than your own. 5 points if 3 or more objectives are closer. So basically it's like curling. Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to get it as close to the enemy battlefield edge as possible.
Nice.
And there is also some endgame scoring too.
Oh yeah, endgame scoring. 10 points for having the least destroyed power levels.
Yeah, just a little kind of tiebreaker type thing. So I think that this mission is a really awesome, like I would have never thought of this mechanic.
Yeah.
This pushing the objective marker towards the opponent's deployment edge as a way to simulate the lines of battle being pushed forward and holding territory longer.
That is creative. Have we seen this before?
I have. If it's been out there, I've never seen it.
Okay, so I haven't either.
I am super impressed with this methodology. Now, if you're pushing it into the enemy, they're likely to also be holding it at the start of their command phase, but not if you set it up right, not if you're pushing hard forward. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a very genius way to do this, this mission. I really like it. It's a great way to show a battle of attrition, but using objectives instead of just using kill points, and I think that's great.
Yeah, because it does go through and kind of it doesn't kind of. It actually completely changes the way that the player will actually start approaching the game. So yeah. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. So the next mission on Gork's Bonts, it's a super rock, which is just a giant asteroid with lots of ingenious orky technology. As the forces descend on the super rock Gork's Bonts, the vast mech-created landscape is alive with bizarre defenses and clanking weapons factories. Those attempting to assault it are blasted with incandescent beams or crushed to paste as gravity is brutally amplified around them. So into the Maelstrom. It's a long ways deployment where the attacker gets a deeper deployment zone than the defender. The defender gets to set up 4 objective markers, and 2 of them are in no man's land, and 2 of them are in their own deployment zone.
Okay.
The no man's land ones are beta objectives. The ones in their deployment zone are alpha objectives. Every turn, there's a chance that each objective will zap the closest enemy unit for D3 mortal wounds. So a 6+ for the beta objectives and a 4+ for the alpha objectives. And they don't nobody has to be within range of them. They just zap the closest enemy unit. So it's like they're shooting laser guns across the battlefield.
We did something similar to this one time when I was still living in New York, didn't we? Where we had objective markers that would just randomly electrocute people. Yeah, pulse.
Yeah, they would pulse. That was kind of like the bees mission that we just played, that we read about last time. Yeah, I think this is a neat way to do kind of gun emplacements without actually putting guns on the table.
Yeah.
The text says that the attacker can disable one of the alpha objectives with an action, but I think it's pretty clear they're meant to be able to disable the beta objectives as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this mission was given a lot of attention by the writing team and the testing team. It does also feel a little less interesting than some of the other ones, but it still looks like fun.
It looks fun. It's like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, it's easy to disable, and you can't re-enable.
Yeah.
There's no re-enabling these, so once it's disabled, it's disabled. Progressive scoring, the defender scores for holding 1 or holding an alpha or holding a beta, which is also weird, which means if you're holding 1, you're just getting 10 points because you get 5 points for holding an objective.
Right.
You also get 5 points for holding either an alpha or a beta objective. With the way the text is being read here, I am thinking that the beta objective wasn't originally supposed to be something you could disable.
Well, it could be that you have was it the extra just for an objective, and that could be that maybe you've managed to claw back an objective that's been disabled.
Yeah. Oh, you're smart. Yes, it's no longer an alpha or beta objective.
Yeah, it's been popped. Yeah.
You're so smart. You figured it out. Yeah, so if it's been disabled, it actually says it's no longer an alpha or beta objective. So yeah, you get a point for holding an objective even if it's not
cool.
Even if it's been disabled. Smart, dude. Thank you.
So you definitely want to knock out those alpha and betas because you want that to for them to decrease their value. That's
true.
Yeah.
The attacker gets points for holding 1. Or they also get points if 1 or more beta markers have been disabled, and they get an extra 1 for if 1 or more alpha markers have been disabled. And I think that's continuous throughout the game, the way I read it. So if you disable a beta marker, from then on, you're always going to get 5 points every turn because you will have done that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But also the defender, see, it's easy for the defender to score because they get to place 2 objective markers in their deployment zone. So I think it makes sense that the attacker gets to continuously score that.
Yeah. Yeah, there may be some text in there that needs to be.
It needs a little massaging. It was not ready for prime time. That's okay. We can, as narrative players, we can figure it out.
Well, it's also a legendary mission, which means something crazy happened. So
yeah, I think it's a fun mission. I just think it could be a fun mission. I just think it didn't get as much attention as the other ones did. That's all.
Yeah. All right. So Dakazot Collapse Zone. Let's see. Mission briefing. As the battle rages on the surface of Dakazot, subterranean burrowers cause sections of the battlefield to collapse beneath the feet of warring forces. Both armies must now fight to escape the unfolding disaster. Alright, so Dakazot is a feral world where the numerous speed freaks have enjoyed using the tunnels left behind by the Tyranids for fun zooming around. That does sound like fun. There's impenetrable darkness, cave-ins, ambushing Tyranids, hazardous terrain, and even the risk of driving straight down the gullet of some enormous subterranean worm with acid-filled stomach. The orcs loved it. Yeah,
that's a direct quote from the book.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
Yeah. That's really kind of cool, actually. Run all your your shock jump, whatever it's called, and okay. Anyway, where are we? Collapse zone. Let's see, I already went through and read the mission briefing. So it's a standard wide deployment zone, it's a dawn of war. Interesting collapse mechanic. That is reminiscent of the way arced lightning damage was done in one of the Beyond the Veil missions. There are 3 points on each battlefield edge inside for a total of 12. So 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the west. Each 6 are marked 1 through 6 and is assigned to a player. At the start of the battle round, there's a collapse on a roll of 5 up. Then each player rolls a dice and draws a line corresponding to the trigger point each of them rolled. Every unit the line passes over takes D3 mortal wounds. Ouch. Okay. You can escape off your opponent's battlefield edge, and the in-game scoring is 1 VP for each unit that was at or below half strength that escaped, 2 VP for any unit not below half strength who escaped, and 5 VP for any Titanic unit that escaped. The victor bonus for this is interesting. The victor's units who escaped earn extra VP. Huh. Well, that's an interesting way to do this. That's an interesting way to go through and create, damage and whatnot. But yeah, I think that, yes, I remember that now, the arced lightning from Beyond the Veil. So
yeah, I think it's really cool. So instead of just a point on the battlefield, like how they do the bombardments and stuff like that in the mission pack, this actually creates kind of like ley lines of damage that are a little bit more chaotic, and can and will affect both players instead of just one grouping of models. And it doesn't. I don't think in this case they want to. It's not tied to an objective. It's just random throughout the battlefield. So I think that's great. I love this. I love the way they do the collapse zone. I think that's cool. I would definitely steal this and use this in another game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this would be a great way to, cause all sorts of damage on, on all the armies that are there.
Yeah. All right. So, moving on, moving on up. Yeah, sorry, I got a little distracted there. I am back. So, this is Urmuk. It's an orc factory world with lots of orbital assets. mainly run by freebooters and blood axes. I like this one a lot too. So it's called Capture the Station. At Urmuk, immense forces clashed in the void and aboard enormous orbital Junka stations, the battles upon which were particularly perilous. There was much indiscriminate fire, and many stations were struck by ramming attacks from both sides as the conflict raged within. So this is a long ways deployment with 5 objectives in the middle in a plus. And then the sides of the battlefield are impact zones.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 inches in, it's literally intended to mess with people who are coming in from reserve, from the battlefield edge, or people who are, trying to outflank on the sides.
Yeah.
So these impact zones are cool. At the end of each battle round, the battlefield edges can be affected by an impact. So first determine which edge is hit randomly.
Yeah.
Then randomize the type of hit. On a 1 through 3, it's a void munition strike that deals D3 mortals on a 6+. On a 4 through 6, it's a voidcraft collision and it causes the unit to suffer -1 to hit on a 6+.
Mm-hmm.
Also, units that arrive from reserve are considered to be coming in via some kind of boarding pod, or something like that. Like they're coming through space to hit the combat zone. So they're not allowed to charge the turn they come in from strategic reserve.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. I like it. Because it's kind of complicated, the scoring is very simple. It's just an end of command phase, control 1, 2, or more.
Oh, okay.
Again, once again, pointing out how important it is when you have complicated additional rules, perhaps the scoring rules need to be toned down a little bit and vice versa.
Yeah.
Don't make people
bust out the calculator.
Yeah, and well, I mean, if somebody loses because they didn't understand something quite so well, that's kind of a tough thing. Of course, in narrative play, you should be happy to help people get over such a thing. Like if they forget something and they would have done something, maybe you can do them a solid and fix the points. But also, it helps if people aren't super confused the entire time with their head full of additional rules.
The only thing I would change in this mission is I might bump up the, on a 6, something happens, bump that to a 5.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I was actually going to say something about that. I think that I was thinking exactly the same thing. Like, I think that the 6+ is too low because it's kind of a what's the point type thing, right? It's not going to happen very often. First, you have to roll to see if it happens. Then you have to roll to see what side it happens on. Right. And then you have to roll to see each one that's hit on a 6+. That's boring. It should probably be I think it should be higher.
Or progressive. First turn 6, second turn 5, third turn 4, etc. So it starts becoming more
dangerous as you go through. Yeah, I like that. That's probably a good idea. And this can be modified. Like you could say this is kind of a subterranean thing instead of a space thing. Like you can use this for a lot of different scenarios where you're going to have some dangerous things chomping at you from the sides.
Yeah. This one's cool. I like this one.
I love it. Again, I think there's an opportunity to make it more interesting by messing with those numbers.
Yeah.
There is also endgame scoring for this one. 20 points for the power level in the opponent's deployment zone. And the player with the most presence in their opponent's deployment zone scores 20. I was thinking that makes more sense as like a endgame scoring for the attacker because they're trying to break through to the enemy. I would have expected a different endgame scoring opportunity for the defender, but it's fine. It's fine. Perhaps just the defender's deployment zone or something like that. I'm not sure. Lastly, we have Octaria itself. Take it away, Jason.
Octaria is an orc death world, not deaf. Death world from the Goths. I think that's why I went there and said that. All right. So, Break Their Back is the name of the mission. Briefing at Octaria. Vast armies clash in battle. The only way to break this stalemate is to seek out the enemy commanders and destroy them before driving their routed forces from the field. Ooh. All right. Some assassination missions. Okay. So, long chevron type deployment. Chevron deployment zones with 4 objectives across the middle of the battlefield. 30 leadership points are distributed as evenly as possible among character units in your army. If the character leaves the battlefield, they lose their leadership status. If the character is killed by an enemy character, that enemy character steals their leadership points. Headhunters, progressive scoring, end of your turn, 5 points each.
Bless you.
Pardon me. All right.
Science. Sorry. Darn it.
Science. All right.
You know, all these people are teaching Quinn to say bless you. I'm trying to get him to say silence, but it's starting to like get to me now too. Like,
Blinded me with science.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Enemy units with leadership points distributed to them have been destroyed. Surviving enemy leadership points is 20 or less, and surviving enemy leadership is 9 points or less. So this is progressive scoring into your turn, 5 points each for those. Mm-hmm. We then have lead by example, which is progressive scoring at the end of your command phase. Score 10 points of a unit with leadership points is within range of an objective marker. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. The victory bonus is pretty great. Every unit in the victor's army who has leadership points and is within range of an objective marker at the end of the game gains marked for greatness. Yay! Yeah, I know that.
And this mission is the end of the campaign, basically. So it's a pretty good victor bonus for the end of the campaign. I love this one. Distributing 30 leadership points equally among all your characters, and all your scoring is based on that. And you actually like steal leadership points if you kill them with your character. Yeah, that's so neat. I love that. I think that's so cool. I would love to play this mission. All about the characters doing cool stuff, and being the linchpin of the army. And the fact that the objectives are now, you'd think, oh, I can just I'll just hide my characters. You can't. All the missions are straight down the middle of the battle. All the objectives are straight down the middle of the battlefield. You have to get up there to score the lead by example points. And if your opponent is doing that and you're not, you're going to fall behind real quick.
Oh yeah.
Real quick. Yeah. They're going to start racking up those points by just standing there with a character.
So I'm finally kind of looking through the book now that, I had it with me in Oklahoma, but I didn't read it because I was busy.
Yeah, you have.
But I'm seeing all the, what is this called? Index Astra Cartographica. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks cool. I finally have the Rogue Trader. My Rogue Trader minis have a place to go. All right.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is what I think I want to do.
Yeah.
If we do only one episode in December, you know what? Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about that.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Oh, we've reached level 6. Welcome back! So if we only have one episode in December, we'll do Orcs on Crusade for Christmas.
Orcs on Crusade!
Yeah, I want to do that for Christmas at least.
Yeah, definitely.
If we do 2 episodes, if we find the time to do 2 episodes, we'll do an episode on the Inquisition and the Astra Cartographer rules.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you couldn't do a huge lore episode on... You couldn't do a lore episode of both those topics.
Oh, no.
You couldn't even... I don't even think you could do just a lore episode just on the Inquisition. I think we have done it, but like you're still just touching on it.
You're scratching the
Yeah.
very edge of the surface. You're like edge highlighting a giant model.
Mm-hmm. What I would like to suggest is that you do I think you're more knowledgeable about the Inquisition. You've read a lot of those books.
Yeah, that's true.
I have not.
Yeah.
So I think it would make a lot more sense if you covered the Inquisition rules and like how it relates to the lore and how you can build your characters.
Okay.
Or how there's difficulty in building your characters the way you want to, which I've heard is a thing.
I did look at those rules because that's in the first book of this.
In book 1, Rising Tide.
Yeah, it's.
So I'd like to hear about that. Like, I'd like to hear about how those rules both help and hurt. And I would like to do the Astra Cartographer one because I am interested in building that army eventually. Maybe when I'm 60 and about to die soon, I'll finally do it.
We also need to do an Orcs Crusade episode soon.
Yeah, so the Orcs Crusade one, I definitely want to do that before Christmas. So we'll say that's going to happen.
That's
one
happening,
way or the other, and we'll look at our schedules. And if we have time, we'll do the Inquisition and Rogue Trader. Either way, for the new year, we'll have the Rogue Trader and Inquisition one at the very least. So, I was supposed to go to Texas for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I'd like to.
We'll here.
See.
So
yeah, you're here. Yeah. All right, dude.
What I might do is go to Louisiana to go see my friends at Baton Rouge.
So I'll let you know. I'll let you know soon how that's going. But until then,
play the game the way you want to, with looted vehicles.
That's right. Hell yeah. We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge.
And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
If you'd like to engage with us directly, you can always join our Discord server.
To do so, or if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor,
contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mastersoftheforge. Thanks.
The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you
know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.